Hey friends, this is the Dyson Animal 2, and it is a great vacuum, but it does need to be cleaned on a regular basis, specifically the filters, as well as this brush head, as that collects a ton of hair, just to keep this thing working in its optimal condition. So today I'm gonna show you where the two filters are located, how to clean those. It's actually a pretty simple process. So let's jump into this. So the first thing we'll do is actually remove the cylinder up here that collects all the dirt and dust as you are vacuuming. We'll just pull that off. And then as you can see on the front here, there's this little button that says filter. We're actually gonna push that up and out, and it'll flip open the canister here. And as you can see, our filter is in here, and wow, that is nice and dirty. So we'll go ahead and just pull that out. Now the great thing about these filters is you can actually just run them underneath your sink water until the water runs clear. So let's go ahead and get this a good rinse. Remember, when you're doing this, you will need to make sure this is fully and completely dry before you use the vacuum again, which is gonna take roughly 24 hours. So we'll run this underneath the water, and then what I like to do as it gets saturated is begin just squeezing it like this, and that'll really push all of that dirt and grime out of the filter here. As you can see, it's pretty dark and grimy, all the water that's coming out. We'll let this go here. Again, usually I do this for a minute or two, really just squeezing and soaking the thing until the water's clear. Okay, as you can see, the water is starting to run clear here. So we'll pull it out, we'll give it another couple of squeezes, and then I'm actually gonna leave this in the sun to dry out. Again, wait at least 24 hours before using your vacuum so this dries out fully. At this point, you may wanna do a little bit of cleaning on the internal parts of the vacuum. You can see it gets pretty dirty and dusty here. You can also do that to the inside of the cylinder if you'd like, to make sure that gets a good cleaning. So the next filter we need to clean out is actually located on this side of the ball right here. You can see this big purple knob. We're gonna be removing that. So what I like to do is actually lay this down on its side. Just helps us access things. And you can grab these two little pinch points, and you basically can just begin to turn counterclockwise and loosen that up. When it's loose enough, this will actually just pull right out and reveal our second filter here. And so to get this out, you can see there's two little arrows that point to each other. Remember that, because that's how you place it back in. But to remove it, we're just gonna take this, turn it counterclockwise just a touch, and that whole filter will rotate and come right out. So what we can do with this now is actually run it underneath some water, and again, let all that dirt go ahead and drain until the water runs clear. Now this needs a little extra pressure, so sometimes I like to use like a shower head, garden hose, something like that. Don't use anything with super high pressure. You don't want to ruin these fins, but again, something that will get in between here and get that grime out. Okay, once we're finished with our rinse, we'll let this dry out too. Again, you can see 24 hours. We like putting it in the sun. It just dries quite a bit faster. Now, finally, we need to clean off our roller. As you can see, we've got a ton of hair stuck up in here. And Dyson actually makes this fairly easy to get to the roller and remove this. So to do that, we can actually remove the entire head here by coming down here and taking off this little clip that's down there at the bottom. And once you take that off, this whole head will actually slide off of the main unit. That just comes right out. You see those two little gold nodes right there slip right into there, and then this onto the main body. And now we have access to reach inside and clean this a little bit easier. And even more so because these tabs over here, there's one silver here and one silver here, actually allow us to remove this little portion. And now we can really have access to get a good cleaning under here. So I'm gonna use my scissors and maybe a box cutter here, and we're just gonna remove all of this by making some cuts in here, just pulling all that hair out. Okay, after some work, you can see that is looking much, much better. So we can go ahead and reverse the steps. Remember, these tabs go up top. You can slide this down into the bottom, push these closed, and then snap them into place. And then we'll get this back up onto the main machine here and pop our clip in. As you pop this clip back in, just make sure that little tabbed area is pointing towards the main nozzle. That'll help that slip in correctly. Okay, it's been 24 hours. Our filters have dried out. Let's go ahead and get them back into the Dyson vacuum. So we'll start with this guy, and we'll go ahead and lay the vacuum down flat again, and we're gonna stick this back on. So we're gonna use the filter, again, is gonna go in just like this, again, with this labeling down. And what we're doing is we're looking for that little arrow again. So we can stick this on top of here. It's gonna slide right into this groove. And then as you can see, as I rotate it clockwise, those two arrows line up, and that filter is now back in place. Now take note that this little threaded area right here is actually at an angle. That's totally normal. It's not supposed to go up and down. And again, what we can do is feed those threads right into the top of that. It may take a minute to just kind of pop on here. What you can actually do is pinch this, and again, you'll feel it when it goes onto those threads. And then what we're gonna do is actually rotate this clockwise, and we'll lock it down into place. Now you'll know you've reached the tightness when you turn and you hear that little click, and that means it's in place. Again, this should spin freely as long as it's not rotated up or out. Everything should be good and nice and tight. Okay, next we'll put that filter back in the top of the canister. Again, if you put it back on, we can pull it out and pop off the little filter hood here. Filter will go in this way, obviously with this larger opening up top. We'll close that back down, snap it into place, and put it back onto the main machine. And there you go, friends. That is the simplest way to clean those filters, clean out your roller head, and keep these Dyson vacuums working as good as possible. Hope that's made your life just a little bit easier. Stay tuned, we're actually making more Dyson videos coming up here soon. Subscribe, and we'll see you again on the next one.